A push to make the Neches River a part of the National Wild and Scenic River System is being met with opposition from both Texas Farm Bureau and the Texas Forestry Association. The Texas Conservation Alliance leads the charge of designating the river wild and scenic to preserve the river and prevent massive projects such as reservoirs. While the intention of preserving the river is well thought, such a designation would open up the door to some unintended consequences.
It's going to affect every item of business, every piece of farm business that we have, municipal business, towns, cities, everything is going to be impacted if this area becomes a wild scenic river.
Farm Bureau opposes the wild and scenic designation and recognizes the harmful effects it would have to agriculture. A wild and scenic designation can only be made by an act of Congress or through a request by the governor of a state. A 2 to 3 year study would take place to determine if the river fits such a designation. However, once the study begins, the river will be subject to all regulations within the act.
A lot of people are not aware, once we bring the federal government in here, what are some of the future consequences that could come as a result of this. Because once the river is designated, then we're stuck with it.
Hufford says his organization has no problem with landowners who wish to enter into conservation easements or are willing sellers, but the possible threat of the taking of private property has local landowners shouting enough is enough.
This particular act just reeks of other people controlling our private property, telling us what to do with it, and we got enough of that.
The Neches River flows some 400 miles from northeast Texas to the Gulf of Mexico. Since 1995, the Forestry Association has implemented a program to ensure that the quality of water in rivers and streams are protected through voluntary best management practices.
We have looked at the act. We have concerns with condemnation. We have concerns with landowners that own property up and down the river, how they will be affected. We've implemented a lot of outstanding programs over the history of our organization that are good practices and provides good stewardship practices to the land.
Texas Forestry has also worked with the state legislature to incorporate streamside management zones and incentives for people in the timber industry to protect water quality and habitat. Local Congressman Louis Gomer recently expressed his concern that designating a river as wild and scenic brings unintended consequences to the local communities, such as a loss of tax revenue for local governments, schools, and even economies.
What we want is development. We want our people to succeed. We want them to be successful. We want them to be able to put in businesses, and some of these types of government controls will inhibit this type of development.
The act came about in 1968 during President Lyndon Johnson's administration. Both organizations agree the National Wild and Scenic River System has its purpose, but including the Neches River in the system doesn't make much sense. Alder says the act will regulate land and water far from the river banks. All tributaries, streams, and runoff, virtually every drop of water flowing into the Neches River would be subject to the restrictions.
We have enough laws to manage our resources and manage them correctly. And we in agriculture want to do that. We're not on the outside or opposite side of conservationists, we are conservationists.
For TFB News, Matt Felder, Nacogdoches.